Hello everybody and welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 10. Today we're going to be looking at a Lumostone sequencer. So I've built one of these in the past, but now of course with the new Lumostone in SkySaga Alpha 10, it has become a lot easier to do. So as you can see over here, this is my little Lumostone sequencer. So I've only got a 4 light setup for it. And then out behind it is all of the gates and stuff that you need to get this up and running. And there's a few extra stuff, little bits and pieces over here that are just circuit protection things that we'll talk about in just a second. So what does a sequencer actually do? A sequencer is a thing that turns on each of these lights in sequence, or each of the outputs in sequence, I guess I should say. So when you first start the island up, it starts with the first lamp put on, and then every time you toggle this input, it will move down the line, just like that. Now, you can do a sequencer in a couple of different ways. This one I have just got set up to run the sequence off the end, just like this, and then nothing else happens. But of course, you can run the sequence back around to the start and have it kind of cycle round through each of the sequences. It depends on what you're going to try and use this system for. So if you're using this to, say, open doors in a particular order in a puzzle, you could do it exactly this way and have the sequence end by kind of dropping off the end of the thing, which means that you only get to open each of the doors once. Or you could cycle this thing around and it will kind of open the doors in turn, and then it will jump back around and open the same doors all over again the more you press the button. And I've also got a reset button over here, so that will reset everything back to square one. And even if I've got the system set somewhere in the toggle range, then we can hit on the reset button and it always pulls that back to square one. So let's have a look at how to build this and what you're going to need for building this. Okay, so to build this, what you're going to need is, per output that you want, you need the output that you're going to use. You need a Lumostone toggle and you need 2 AND gates. That's per output. So on camera here, I'm going to show you how to build a 4 long sequencer. And then on top of that, you're going to need 2 AND gates, 4 NOT gates, and 2 pressure plates to do the input and reset system that I was just showing you before. So on top of that, obviously, you're going to need Lumostone ones to be able to connect everything together. So let's go ahead and set this guy up. So we're going to start with the actual toggles and the output systems that we're going to need. We're going to hook all of that stuff up first, and then we're going to hook up all of the input devices that we need. So starting with the outputs, I'm going to start by placing down my 4 outputs in a row, just like that. And then in behind those outputs, I am going to place down the toggle, just like this. So 4 toggles down in a row, and then after that, we're going to place down 2 AND gates after each toggle. So you can spread these out or sit them literally next to each other. It actually might be better to spread them out because they are going to perform different functions. One of them is going to be used to sequence the lights through, and the other one is going to be used to do the reset. So it's very important that you know which one is which. Now, so we're going to take the toggles and we're going to link them up to the outputs that are directly in front of them. Obviously, the output doesn't need to be directly in front. It's just the output that you want that toggle to power or not power. So there you go. Now that we've got all of the toggles connected to all of the outputs, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the toggle and we're going to connect it to both the A of both of these AND gates. So here we go. So it goes to the A of both AND gates, just like this. And that's just the AND gates directly behind it. That's all it needs to do. It just goes directly to the A, just like this. So these AND gates are going to be used to perform actions when the toggle itself is turned on and a pulse gets given to the system from either the input or from the reset pin. So the first line here, just down this line, is going to be the ones that are used when you input a pulse to the system to move the toggle down, and then the back ones here are going to be used when you input the reset pulse and are going to cause the system to completely reset. So what this means is, for the back line, when we put a pulse into the AND gate and this toggle is on, what's going to happen is we want this toggle to turn back off again. So that's what we're actually going to do now. We're going to link all of the back AND gates directly through to the toggle in front of them. So just like this. all the way up for every single toggle that you have available. So just like that. So you should have a line going from the toggle to the A side of that AND gate, and then that AND gate should be connected back to that toggle, just like that. Now the next step we're actually going to do is hook up this line, which does the actual toggling system. So what's happening here is when this toggle is turned on and we get an input to say move from this light to that light, what we actually need to do is turn this light off by toggling this toggle, and then we need to turn this light on by toggling this toggle, which means that this AND gate here goes to both the toggle in front of it and the toggle immediately to the right, just like that. So now I've got this toggle connects to the A side of this AND gate, and then this AND gate connects to that toggle and then out to here. And the same thing goes with this AND gate. So this AND gate connects to the toggle directly in front of it and to the toggle to the right, just like this. And then we do the same with this AND gate, it goes to the toggle directly in front and to the toggle to the right. Now this AND gate out the front here, or out the end here, it needs to go to the toggle directly in front of it. Now there is no toggle to the right. So if I leave this so that this AND gate just goes directly to this toggle in front, then the sequence will fall off the end as this one does, as you saw before. But of course I can pick up a node of some description, so I'm just going to quickly grab this node here. We don't need to use a node in particular, but I am going to use one just to make sure that the wiring looks okay. I can grab a node like this one, we can place that node down, and we can actually run this AND gate. Rather than one to the right, what we need to do is run it all the way across to the other side here, because then that will cause this system to spiral round and have the sequence kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back to 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and continue like that. So the way we do that is take this AND gate, hook it to the node, and then take the node and hook that back to the toggle in the first position there. So there you go. So you've got this nice little V, although I've kind of accidentally placed this relay around the wrong way. So there we go. That is now most of the wiring done. What we now need to do is hook up the inputs to this thing. So we're going to place down our 2 pressure pads. One is going to, of course, be for continuing the system, and the other one is going to be for doing a reset. So the continuing system one is very, very easy to do. What we're going to do is we're going to simply place down a rising edge circuit. So that is one of those and one of those. So a NOT gate and an AND gate. Then we take our input and run that to both the NOT gate and the A side of the AND gate. So just like this. And the A side of this AND gate. And we run the NOT gate into the B side of this AND gate, just like that. And now this AND gate goes to all of the first line of AND gates at the B side. So we're going to take it and we're going to run it into all of them down at the B. Here we go. So down to the B side, down to the B side down here, and of course finally all the way at the end, down to the B side, just like that. So there we go. Now we have the rising edge running into that, and that will actually now cycle the lights, but there, of course there is no light set up right now, but we can fix that in just half a second. So the next thing we need to do is we need to do a similar thing, but for the back ones and the reset pins. So we're going to once again place down a rising edge pulse, which just looks like this. So a NOT gate and an AND gate. We're going to run the reset pressure plate or input into the NOT gate and into the AND gate, just as we did before. So to the A side of this AND gate like that. NOT gate goes into the B side of the AND gate, and then this AND gate goes into the B side of all of the back run of AND gates. So very, very similar to what we've just done, but these two things serve two completely different functions, so we need to make sure that we double this up and have all of this stuff running. So there you go. Now, that is going to do the toggling and do the resetting of all of the nodes back to off, or all of the toggles back to off. So the final thing we need is we actually need a rising edge pulse that is unprotected to start the system up. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 2 NOT gates down, just like this. We're going to run, before we do anything else, we're going to run one of the NOT gates to the very first toggle over here. And that's going to turn this light on, and that's exactly what we want that to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run the back NOT gate into the front NOT gate, and then we are going to run the reset into both of those NOT gates. So this creates a falling edge pulse, which means that when you step off this pressure plate will turn that light back on. So if we now stand on here, what you'll see is while I stand on here, nothing is on in any of these lights, but when I stand back off again, that light comes back on and the whole system gets reset and should work perfectly. So here we go. It will now toggle around as we saw before. And when we get to the end, this time because I've hooked it up with that node through the back, it toggles round to the start and, switches round to the start. And you can see that this sequence is now kind of a rotating sequence, and it will continue round and round and round until I stop doing anything with it. And of course, once we get to a point that we need to reset it, we can just go over here, step on and off, and that will reset everything to the ground level again. So there you go, that is how to do a sequencer here in SkySaga Alpha 10. It's a little bit more compact and easy to put together than the sequencer in SkySaga Alpha 9. These toggles are amazingly powerful, and there is even more stuff we're going to do with them in the future. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one, and I will see you in the next video.